What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be having a deep look at the brand new Jak Thunder LMG Kit for the Sidewinder. And with this kit, I've really been looking forward to it since the Sidewinder is really bad by default. I still consider it to be one of, if not the worst guns in the entire game. So I thought maybe this kit will finally make the Sidewinder good, or at least a lot more viable than the base version of the gun, and that's what we're going to be having a look at today. So let's just dive right into it, and we're going to look at the in-game stats first. And in the description, it mentions that it has the large capacity magazine that ramps up in fire rate the longer you hold down the trigger. Additionally, this harms all of our mobility speeds, our handling speeds, our reload time, as well as our damage values, with very few upsides listed in the advanced stats. Our rate of fire improves, and our range values do improve with this as well. And let's start it off with that rate of fire that just ramps up over time. How exactly does this work? Does it ramp up after X number of shots fired, or what exactly happens here? Well, it turns out when you first start firing the gun, it will fire at roughly the standard fire rate for the Sidewinder, which is 375 rounds per minute. And then from there, it will ramp up to about 852 rounds per minute once you get toward the end of your magazine. And I decided to map out this rate of fire increase in chunks of 10 bullets at a time. So while this does start immediately ramping up the rate of fire from the moment you shoot, I just took a look at this in 10 round increments and took the average rate of fire within each 10 round increment to map this out for you guys, just so you can see what the general curve looks like. And this is also post-patch. This actually changed yesterday with an update. And this actually really starts to ramp up at the 15 round mark. So after you fire 15 rounds continually, this is when that ramp up really takes off until it reaches 852 rounds per minute. And you'll reach that maximum fire rate at around 30 to 35 rounds. I should also point out this ramp up resets when you stop firing. So you have to be firing continuously without releasing the trigger in order to take full advantage of this ramp up. And the moment you release that, it resets it back to the initial fire rate. So let's have a look at what that actually looks like in-game, while also taking a look at the recoil. I'm letting the recoil do its thing here. I'm not trying to control for it at all. And as you can see, it does start off very, very slow, and then as it ramps up over time, so does your recoil, so it does kick up very, very high if you don't try to control this recoil. And just like the base Sidewinder, this recoil is pretty difficult to get a handle on and control. This is what it looks like when I'm trying to control the recoil. So unfortunately, no improvement there, and that's one of the big hopes that I had for this LMG kit. I thought maybe with that extra weight, they could justify decreasing the recoil on that, and that would suddenly make the Sidewinder a lot more viable, but that's just not the case. Next, let's get into the damage changes, because you'll notice in the advanced stats, you do see less damage with this. And we're going to start this off when this kit is in full auto mode, which is the default. All of our damage values are reduced compared to the base Sidewinder, and instead of being a 3-shot kill potential at any range, now it's going to be a 4, 5, or 6-shot kill to the body. And the only way you're getting a 3-shot kill now is if every one of those bullets hits the head. And what this means for our time to kill potential, since we have a variable fire rate here, early on in the mag when you first start firing, which is going to be the majority of gunfights you get into, our time to kill with a 4-shot kill is 480 milliseconds. That is extremely slow for this game. Like, that's almost double the time to kill of many of the guns in this game. And at longer ranges with a 6-shot kill, it's going to take you 800 milliseconds to kill, which is just stupidly slow for this game. Now, in saying that, if we happen to get the kill with the last few bullets of our magazine, our time to kill potential is insane. It's really good. It's 211 milliseconds with a 4-shot kill. But the problem is you're going to have to fire like 45 rounds before you get to that time to kill without letting go of the trigger. And that's just not a realistic situation at all. Now, of course, I am just showing you the two extremes. There are middle grounds, like if you kill in the middle of the magazine, it'll be somewhere in between these time to kill potentials. But still, like I said, in the majority of gunfights you get into, you should be killing within the first 5 to 10 shots that you fire. So when it comes to raw power and time to kill, it's not looking too good, but I did want to take a look at semi-auto as well, since with battle rifles, you tend to see a totally different damage profile in semi-auto, and it's no different with this Sidewinder kit. It turns out with this, our torso and arm damage when you swap over to semi-auto, this is the same as our full auto damage profile to the torso and arms. However, we actually see very noticeably reduced damage to the legs, so it's a lot more punishing with leg shots when you're in semi-auto, and in order to compensate for that, we do get a very noticeably boosted headshot damage in semi-auto. So it does require you to be a little more precise with your shots, and you will be rewarded for that if you can hit those headshots, because you can now get a 2-shot kill to the head. But still, when you compare this to the base Sidewinder in semi-auto, you're dealing noticeably more damage with the base Sidewinder. Like our headshot damage up close without this kit in semi-auto is 120 rather than 80. I guess I should also mention, when you swap over to semi-auto, it appears that our rate of fire caps are identical to when we're using this in full auto, so it still ramps up over time. You are going to be capped early on, but you can ramp up as you keep firing, as long as your trigger finger will keep up with that. And with that, let's take a look at a range comparison with the Sidewinder, comparing the base gun to this kit. And as we can see here, with the base gun, we have an infinite 3-shot kill potential as long as you're hitting the right multipliers, whereas with this kit, it's going to be a 4, 5, or 6-shot kill. And while we have the potential to kill faster with this Jak Thunder kit, that's only if we've already fired most of our magazine before we actually engage the target that we're planning on shooting at, which isn't realistic at all. And for the most part, this is just going to make your time to kill potential significantly worse than the already not amazing time to kill of the Sidewinder. I should mention though, like the advanced stats state, our range drop-off points are a little bit longer with the Jak Thunder kit, but that doesn't really matter when you're killing way slower. And that leaves us with our handling and mobility stats, which are all noticeably harmed while using the Jak Thunder kit, since we are converting it to an LMG. So our aim down sight time is now 310 milliseconds, whereas with the base Sidewinder, this is 265 milliseconds, so it's very noticeably slower. Our sprint out time is also noticeably slower at 237 milliseconds. And then on top of that, our reload add time is quite noticeably slower at 2.4 seconds, although in saying that, we also get a much larger magazine at 50 rounds. As for our mobility stats, again, across the board, we are harming our mobility stats when we put this kit on the Sidewinder. So overall, after looking at all of these stat changes, it really doesn't look too good for this kit. So I was really searching to see if maybe there's some way that I can turn this into an upside, so I thought maybe shooting down streaks is going to be better with this kit. Maybe that's a really viable use case for this. Since at least toward the end of the mag, our damage per second value will be very, very high because that fire rate ramps up so much. But the problem with this is, first off, you can't use incendiary ammo with this, which is the best ammo for combating enemy streaks, and therefore you're stuck with armor piercing, and with armor piercing, you can't take out a VTOL or a chopper gunner in less than 50 rounds, and therefore you have to include a reload in this, and that just makes this not a good choice for taking out aerial streaks. Now, one thing I found is you may be able to make this work with Tac Stance. It's not completely horrible with Tac Stance, but again, you're probably still just better off with the base Sidewinder since your time to kill potential will be better. Sure, your magazine capacity will be capped a lot lower, but magazine capacity doesn't matter much if you can't even win a face-to-face gunfight all that often. So at the end of the day, this is another one of those cases where I feel the kit for the gun is actually worse than the base gun itself. And that really sucks because in this case, the base gun is already really bad. So if you want to take a really bad gun and make it worse, then this kit provides exactly what you're looking for. And I know it might look a lot better than what I'm saying in the gameplay. That's just due to the fact that I recorded this gameplay early this morning when there was basically nobody playing, so I got a super easy lobby for this. There's no way I would be winning these gunfights in the typical lobby if I were playing during peak hours. So there we go. That's the breakdown of the Jak Thunder LMG kit for the Sidewinder. And of course, I'm really curious to hear from you guys in those comments down below. For those of you guys that have tried this kit out, what are your thoughts on it so far? Do you agree with me? Do you think this is just a straight downgrade to the Sidewinder in every way? Or have you actually managed to find some success with this? Do you enjoy using this? Please just let me know in those comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.